In the time that I've been here, I've been following the presidential race, and I've noticed that a few pieces of conventional wisdom have formed around the candidates. None more than with Donald Trump.
6 in 10 Americans believe Trump is unqualified to serve as president.
He's not qualified to be president.
Unfit to be president.
Unfit to be commander-in-chief.
The Des Moines Register writing that Trump is, quote, not only unfit to hold office, but unfit to stand on the same stage as his Republican opponents.
He's unfit for that stage? No, that stage is unfit for Trump. There's no marble, there's no gold. Where are the women in bikinis? And how would he even get there? There's no escalator. Come on, people. So the complaint about Trump is that he's unpresidential, and it stems from certain statements that he's made.
When Mexico sends its people, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
And you know what they say? When you assume, you're the best at assuming. Trump. I know these comments about immigrants were upsetting to some people, but for me, as an African, there's just something familiar about Trump that makes me feel at home.
The influx of illegal migrants, crime, unfair business practices, drugs.
It is also not true that all foreign nationals are involved in criminal activities. There are some who are, but not all of them.
I love how we all waited like, oh, he's not so... That's South African President Jacob Zuma sounding a lot like Donald Trump. You see, that's a light xenophobia with just a dash of diplomacy, which is also the title of Paula Dean's new book. So I don't see what's unpresidential about Donald Trump. I mean, here's another thing he unnecessarily took heat for.
Autism has become an epidemic. The beautiful child went to have the vaccine and came back, and a week later got a tremendous fever, got very, very sick, now is autistic.
Now, was that factual? No. But was it presidential? Depends where you come from.
Gambian President Yahya Jammeh says he can cure AIDS using herbs and bananas. He admits there will always be skeptics, but he says, quote, mine is not an argument, mine is a proof. It's a declaration. I can cure AIDS, and I will.
That's right. That is right. The president of Gambia says he can cure AIDS with bananas. And I can also cure cancer using AIDS. If only I hadn't cured all that AIDS. A crazy thing to... Better safe than sorry. What I'm trying to say is Donald Trump is presidential. He just happens to be running on the wrong continent. In fact, once you realize that Trump is basically the perfect African president, you start to notice the similarities everywhere, like the level of self-regard.
I say not in a braggadocious way. I've made billions and billions of dollars. I made a tremendous amount of money. I'm really rich. I have a great temperament. They love me anyway. I don't have to do this. I've done an amazing job. I was born with a certain intellect. God helped me by giving me a certain brain.
I bet that's the one time that God's like, I don't need the praise. It's cool. That's you. That's you. I'm cool. Now, is that extraordinary level of bragging presidential? Well, let's ask a man who actually was president. Idi Amin, former president and best president of Uganda.
The people like me very much. I am very popular. I am very powerful. I am the one who has got the money. I have got a very good brain.
I have a very good brain. And I know this because every time I ask people if I have a good brain, they say, of course, Mr. President. Now, please let my family go. You've already killed my sister. I think you've proved your point. And just to make sure everyone knew exactly how successful he was, Idi Amin insisted on always being referred to by his full title. And this is completely true. His Excellency President for Life, Field Marshal Al-Haji, Dr. Idi Amin Dada, VC DSO, MC, Lord of all the beasts of the earth, and Fishes of the seas, and conqueror of the British Empire in Africa in general, and Uganda in particular. Luckily, Idi Amin didn't own any casinos. Yeah, in fact, Trump is so African presidential, he's already at the level of Zimbabwe's president, Robert Mugabe, whose brutality and repressive tactics have kept him in power for 35 years.
My people have great praise for me.
People love me. Everybody loves me.
The little man.
He's very low energy.
Land is ours. It's not European. It's our land. And we have taken it.
We'll take our country back.
We will win. We will be winning all the time.
We will have so much winning if I get elected that you may get bored with winning.
I feel like I'm winning right now. It's really great to know that if anything ever happens to Trump, we have a backup coffee in Africa. I like that. Actually, now that I think about it, Trump reminds me of one African leader in particular. Weird hair? Check. Lavish lifestyle? Check. Fringe, discredited views about President Obama's origins?
And along came a black citizen of Kenyan African origin, a Muslim. His name is Obama.
Check. Oh, and there's one more thing.
Gaddafi put up a tent in the town of Bedford, about 40 miles outside of New York City. The property in Westchester County, where they're setting up that tent, is owned by none other than Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's right. When Muammar Gaddafi came to America, he could have stayed anywhere. But the only place he felt truly at home was in Donald Trump's yard. Now, just by the way, our lawyers told us we have to mention that Trump told Gaddafi to take the tent down. And you see, you have to be careful what you say about Donald Trump in public. Not unlike an African president. Now, I understand that Trump is a little scary. A little exotic for some. A little out of America's comfort zone. But this great country is capable of bold leaps. It took one in 2008 when it elected its first black president. Now in 2016, I say it's time to be bold once more and elect America's first African president. And when that happens, when a true African finally enters the Oval Office, the people of Africa will erupt into songs of praise. Mexican rapists. You know, a lot of my career, I've made fun of politicians. And now that I'm in this job, it's mostly American politicians. But that's because this is America, and you guys don't go give a about anywhere else. It's just a joke, but it's true. Now, I don't have a problem talking about the US, but sometimes it makes it seem like other countries don't have problems with their politicians. Take my president, Jacob Zuma, right? No, that's Idi Amin. Please take... No, that's Forrest Whitaker playing Idi Amin. No, that's Larry Wilmore. Why are you... Oh, no, sorry. Whoa, that's Zuma. Sorry. I saw that. I'm sorry. My bad, Larry. My bad. I corner off my eye. I'm sorry, man. So that's my president, Jacob Zuma. All right? And this guy, the president of South Africa, he's no stranger to controversy. You know, he's a man who's faced over 700 charges of corruption, and that was before he was elected as president. And I know, that should have been a red flag to South Africans, but ever since apartheid, we strive to be colorblind, so all we saw was a flag. But now, President Zuma has gotten himself into another bind.
In South Africa, the country's president, Jacob Zuma, is facing calls to resign. This after South Africa's highest court determined Zuma broke the law in using public funds to renovate his private home. The Constitutional Court ruled Mr. Zuma improperly used $15 million in state funds for home upgrades.
You know what I love is people looking at there going, which one is his home? All of it. What you were looking at was all of it. Yeah, President Zuma spent $15 million to renovate his house, not build it, renovate, which is an amazing figure, partly because he can't even count that high. No, and this is not like a mean joke. President Zuma cannot count that high. This is President Zuma attempting to say 769,870.
Our membership figures stood at 700, listen properly, 769,820.
favorite part is where he tries to blame the audience for the fact that he can't say the number 700. Listen properly. Listen. It's almost like he's saying to the audience, hey guys, this only sounds wrong because your ears are f***ed up. Listen properly. Listen, I'm saying it right. Now, the most glaring thing here wasn't the fact that he spent $15 million, but how he tried to justify it. For instance, he built himself a beautiful swimming pool at his house, right? And then the public said, why is the government paying for your private swimming pool? And then he said, no, it's not a swimming pool. This is a fire pool. And the people were like, what? And he said, yeah, you see, this pool is used if there's a fire. I take the water from the pool and I splash it onto the fire, so it's a government expense to keep the president safe. That's the actual thing that he said, which is understandable. It's the same philosophy I use when I claim sports cars on my tax returns as a medical expense. The IRS goes, that's a Ferrari, and I reply, no, that's a microphalic compensation tool. That's what that is. It's all how you see it. That's all how you see it. But you know, that's one of the downsides of African presidents. There's so much corruption in Africa. Something you never see in the West, unless you look.
The largest leak of secret documents in history. Publication of what are being called the Panama Papers this weekend has exposed a worldwide corruption scandal.
These are huge allegations within these documents. Money laundering, arms and drug deals, tax evasion.
12 current or former leaders, world leaders, have been named. Another 128 politicians as well.
Edward Snowden even tweeting, this is the biggest leak in the history of data journalism. 11 million documents. That's 10 times what Snowden leaked.
Oh, you know a leak is big when Edward Snowden is impressed by it. Yeah, that's like Donald Trump being impressed by your tan. That's what that is. But this Panama Papers scandal is a huge story. It's still growing. We don't even know where it's going to end. Everyone is talking about it. Basically, the story is that this weekend, someone at a Panamanian law firm leaked 11 million documents. 11 million documents that revealed the alleged owners of more than 15,000 offshore shell companies. Now, at this point, Panama has basically produced as many leaked documents as they have douchey hats. This is why do people still wear these hats? I don't get it. You look like such a douche when you wear like a... No, hey, no, that don't laugh at that. I wore it once in like 2008, back when they were cool. That's not a... 11 million documents. 11 million documents. Now look, having a shell company isn't always illegal, right? But a lot of very powerful people are about to be implicated in some dubious and by the way, whoever leaked this, unlike Edward Snowden, they won't find refuge in Russia.
Russian President Vladimir Putin, he's not named specifically in these documents, but they do reveal a telltale trail set up by his closest inner circle and worth $2 billion.
No way! You're telling me the guy who walked through King Midas' doors to shake hands with Bashir al-Genocide is up to something shady? Oh no! Anything with Putin still a surprise. But we're going to be hearing a lot more about this in days to come because the list of people is kind of incredible.
The King of Saudi Arabia, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Jackie Chan, the film star.
No, Jackie Chan! We trusted you, Jackie! What kind of kung fu is this? You know, Jackie Chan, my heart is broke. Now Jackie Chan could get arrested. We actually have footage of the authorities apprehending him this morning. Oh, if anyone knows of Jackie Chan's whereabouts, remember, approach him as a group, but then fight him one at a time.